You must have heard this already, but I figure it's good to play here
Oh,
for
gotta play it.
posterity's sake.
This is where I was gonna name my part of the episode Cowboys Corral. But
And this is just a snippet from it. I got it from Mark Nixon on X, but this is just from Danielle's speech the other day, which is pretty powerful. Again, pretty powerful rhetoric coming from Alberta.
No, one thing has changed. We have a new prime minister. And I will say that in my first conversation with him since the election, he had some promising things to say about changing the direction of his government's anti-resource policies. However, Albertans are more of a actions speak louder than words kind of people. So while I will in good faith work with Prime Minister Mark Carney on unwinding the mountain of destructive legislation and policies that have ravaged our provincial and national economies this past decade, until I see tangible proof of real change, Alberta will be taking steps to better protect ourselves from Ottawa. As a start, I will soon appoint a special negotiating team to represent our province in negotiations with the federal government on the following reforms requested by our province. We hope this will result in a binding agreement that Albertans can have confidence in. Call it an Alberta Accord, if you will. First, Alberta requires guaranteed corridor and port access to tidewater off the Pacific, Arctic, and Atlantic coasts for the international export of Alberta oil, gas, critical minerals, and other resources in amounts supported by the free market rather than by the dictates and whims of Ottawa.
can you pause
Every
it?
province in the country, other than Alberta and
That's pretty strong. I mean, it's probably starting from a negotiating point of view where she's not going to get all three, but she might get two or something like that.
There was 9. This is just the top 4.
No. Three coasts.
Oh, Port Coast. Yeah,
Three
yeah.
ports. Yeah. Because and I like how she said, and it's not going to be based on government. It's based on free market stuff, and not based on what the government says the quantities are going to be and stuff like that, right? So.
Saskatchewan have coastal port access, and no province needs it more given the size and value of our resources. This will benefit all Canadians to the tune of trillions of dollars of economic activity, including billions for First Nations partners. Second, the federal government must end all federal interference in the development of provincial resources by repealing the No New Pipelines Law, C-69, the oil tanker ban, the net zero electricity regulations, the oil and gas emissions cap, the net zero vehicle mandate, and any federal law or regulation that purports to regulate industrial carbon emissions, plastics, or the commercial free speech of energy companies. These laws are destroying investment confidence and costing Canada and Alberta hundreds of billions in investments each year. They need to go. Third, the federal government must refrain from imposing export taxes or restrictions on the export of Alberta resources without the consent of the government of Alberta. Frankly, all provinces should be given that same respect for their resources. And fourth, the federal government must provide to Alberta the same per capita federal transfers and equalization as is received by the other 3 largest provinces, Quebec, Ontario, and British Columbia. We have no issue with Alberta continuing to subsidize smaller provinces with their needs, but there is no excuse for such large and powerful economies like Ontario, Quebec, BC, or Alberta to be subsidizing one another. That was never the intent of equalization, and it needs to end. If these points can be agreed to by the federal government, I am convinced it will not only make Alberta and Canada an infinitely stronger and more prosperous country, but will eliminate the doubts a growing number of Albertans feel about the future of Alberta in Canada. No.
There you have it.
Well, you know what I thought of there? Maybe Carney helped put a lot of those things in place. He was advising Trudeau for a while. He's been in the back seat. I mean, it's almost like they put those in place so Carney could come in and take him away. Honestly, I mean, I like your. When are we going to talk about our theory about Carney moving to the right and all that? Actually, we'll wait in my segment. I've got somebody that says the exact same thing.